Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of My EdTech Life. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful day. Hopefully, you've had a wonderful start to your week. And wherever it is that you're joining us from around the world, thank you as always for your support. We appreciate all the likes, the shares, the follows. And as you know, we've hit a great milestone. We hit episode 300. And today, this is 301. We are well on our way to the next 300 episodes. And I am really excited to have an amazing guest. This is her second time being here on the show. And we were kind of looking prior to the show to see when the last time or what episode it was that she was here last. And she was here on episode 19 of My EdTech Life. And that was back on August 8th, 2020. And we are November 18th, 2024. But I am excited to have Jen Leban on the show. Jen, how are you doing today? I'm so excited for you to be here.
I'm doing fantastic. Does this mean that I am a My EdTech Life hipster because I was there before it was cool? Do I get
Y-
to like
Yes, you were there. You wore the cool band shirt before the band was cool. So, yes, I love it. Thank
Yes.
you so much for returning. As always, it's always great to chat with you and just to hear about you, your journey. As we know, back then we were talking about stuff going on during COVID. You were working on illustrating books and so on. And then now we know that things have changed. And I'm excited to learn a little bit more about what you are up to. But
Yeah.
before we get started and before we jump in, for our audience members who may not be familiar with your work yet, can you give us a little brief introduction and what your context is within, this new education space?
Sure. Well, as you said, hi, I'm Jen Leban. I am a veteran teacher of 23 plus years, I think, at this point. And 4 years ago, when you talked to me, I was probably in the elementary library at that time, which was my 1 year I worked in the elementary library. But previous to that, I spent 6 years in the middle school technology classroom. So I was the tech teacher. And before that, I spent 13 years in the middle school art room. So my origin story is that I am an art teacher at heart. Like that is my very beginning. So since we've talked, I left the elementary library. I left the classroom completely and I became an instructional tech coach for 3 years. And I worked with the state of Illinois, and I was contracted out to school districts like part-time to districts that couldn't afford a full-time tech coach, and those kinda got cobbled together to make a full-time job, and I loved that job. That job was amazing, so highly recommend. It was something I had always wanted to do and had tried and just had a really hard time getting out of the classroom. So don't give up if you're there. Keep going, keep trying. And then my current job now, the title is Online Community Manager for the Art of Education University. So that is our company name, but we're more than just a university. First of all, we are a university. So you can like straight up get your master's degree from us. We do cater to art teachers specifically, but I was working as a tech coach, saw this job posted, and I was like, wow, a tech job in the art world. And then, oh, yeah, I get to work full time from home. I was like, this is for me. I was like, this is like it. All of the forces of the world seem like they're conspiring to I was like, this feels like my job. Like I'm supposed to have it. So applied for it, didn't actually think much of it. I was like, even though it felt really good to me, I was like, oh, I'm never going to get this. And wouldn't you know, I was offered the job and hey, here I am now. So it's not like I left a job because I was unhappy. There are jobs where I've done that. But where I was before was a great place. But this was like, I couldn't not do this. This is just, yeah, I get to, I work with art teachers. I run the online community for art teachers where you build your PLN, you find other art teacher is a lonely job. You're often the only art teacher in the building, and it's hard to find people to talk with, which is honestly not not only is my origin story an art teacher, but this was my, I guess, struggle the whole time. This is why I started on Twitter. This is why I started on social media, like, way, way back in the day, because I felt so alone, and this Twitter thing came out, and all of a sudden you could meet other teachers, and I could find other teachers. So if you were a teacher and you mentioned art in your profile, I followed you, like, knowing nothing else. And I built up this community, and then when I moved to tech, I followed tech people. When I moved to the library, I so it grew and grew and grew as we all kind of, and now it's all dying. So so it's so funny because that was the problem I encountered when I was in the art room was I needed to find my people. I needed to find my community, and now I get to, like, I don't know, as the elder that the elder, God, I'm like Gen X, whatever. I get to come and help bring all those people in. Like I was in your position. Come and join us now. And now that all other social media kind of sorry, most other social media kind of sucks right now. This is our like, where's everybody going? Are we all going to Blue Sky? Are we all going to that? Like for art teachers, we're going to the Art of Ed community. That is our place. That is our home place now where we're all going together and we get to talk. And I do monthly art club meetings and we do webinars where we all just hang out for an hour and make art together and like chit chat. So it's just a big art nerdy teacher community.
That is amazing. And I couldn't think honestly, I can't think of anybody better to be able to do this and handle this. And like you said, because of all the experience that you've had, Jen, it really plays to, like you mentioned, any new teachers that are out there. Like you mentioned right now, you said something very specific and said, hey, I was there in your shoes at one time. Because sometimes now they may feel like, am I the only one going through this? And now they've got that support. And you're absolutely right. My experience least in my district too, as well, is when you do run into art teachers, it's usually they are on a whole all by themselves and they're kind of isolated
Mhm.
and they're always like looking for new ideas and support, even
Yeah.
like, hey, where can we do this or now or we're getting pulled out to do other things
Yep.
other than art and what we're supposed
Oh
to
yeah.
be doing. But I'm glad that there's a community for that. And just like
Yeah.
you said, with the experience that you've had through the elementary times, of course, the coaching, and might I say, when I first started it getting, a little bit more traction on social media, you were, one of the first ones that I followed too as well, obviously because of what you were posting, the interest, the tech that was involved, especially, like We Video, obviously innovator community too as well, and all of that. So definitely I'm excited to be able to reconnect with you after 4 years and just to hear about the great stuff that you're doing and helping build that art community, which is awesome. And of course, you get to do it from home. And I can't even imagine how great those chats are that you guys, get together and do. Before we get into that a little bit more, because I do want to hear a little bit more as far as those activities and so on. But can you tell us a little bit more? I know you did mention the Art of Education University. It is a place where you can get your master's, but or, specifically like, what are their offerings or, how can more
Yeah.
people get involved and get to know a little bit more about what the university does?
I get so excited when I talk about things that I like go on tangents and I forget whole parts. So yes, I should probably tell you about the rest of the art of education. So yeah, we're kind of split because there is like the university side where you can get your master's degree or continuing like graduate courses and things like that, which is great. I've not done any of them yet, let's say yet, because I got plans. I always got plans. The other side is they actually sell a full-on art education curriculum, like a K-12. It's called Flex curriculum, and what's so great about it is that I should probably say, like, I'm a canned curriculum hater. So, good, bad, whatever. I don't love canned curriculums. So, especially when you're like, oh, art curriculum. I didn't have an art curriculum when I was an art teacher, which is true. But I wish this existed when I was an art teacher because the whole idea of flex curriculum is that it's like it gives you supports when you need it. And when you want to do your own thing, you can. It's almost like you can like pick and choose. I mean, it's flexible. It's right there in the name. So yeah, when you feel like you need supports or like I want a worksheet on how to do 1 point perspective or something, it's there for you. But if you're like, I like this project, but I want to do this with it, it's got the freedom that you can customize it and personalize it and you still feel like you have your autonomy. So that's one thing. They sell curriculum. Another thing that they sell, it's called pro learning, which is basically PD for art teachers. So I know that you weren't an art teacher, but you could probably relate to being in institute days and teacher meetings that have absolutely no relevance to you. Have you ever encountered that?
Hmm. I
Yeah,
think we all have
I
many
figured. Yeah.
times where it could have
So
just been an email.
So school districts will buy pro learning in order to give their art teachers relevant professional development. So if an art teacher is like, "Hey, I always wanted to learn more about how to teach printmaking in my classroom," it's a whole series of videos, almost like little online courses for teachers where they can dig deeper and you can actually learn about stuff that is relevant to you. A lot of districts buy these things together, but then there's a whole nother like arm of our company that's just free that we support teachers. So we have a very robust, we have a YouTube channel. We have a whole online magazine, like kind of like a blog, like articles, always out, always new things. There is a podcast that is out. I'm trying to think. We do a conference twice a year called the Now Conference or the Art Ed Now Conference, and it's done by other teachers, other art professionals that do sessions, but it's 100% virtual. So you log on, you just kinda, like, hang out, and they're these, like, 15-minute sessions, which actually is how I first connected with the art of education. I feel like we counted, and probably about the time I talked to you was probably about the first time I ever presented at a Now conference. So I wanna say, like, 4 years ago. Um, but I've presented with them several times over the years, and actually I'll be presenting this next time. I'm dragging my husband with me because he is an art teacher. So there's something not everybody knows that I'm married to an art teacher. So I'm actually dragging him in with me. And we are going to do a presentation together at the Now conference, all about AI. So should
Excellent.
be pretty fun because I've always loved tech and I've always loved art. Even
Mhm.
when I was just in the art room, I always wanted to do tech things. I think I just get bored easily, so I always wanna, like, learn new stuff, and that's why I say yet with the courses. I've got my eyes on, like, a graphic design course that I think I wanna take, so we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, educators, ready for a game changer? I've partnered up with Goose Chase to revolutionize learning through play. This amazing platform helps students grasp key concepts, engage in epic challenges, and feel the thrill of discovery. From classroom scavenger hunts to district wide adventures, Goose Chase turns education into an unforgettable journey. Join the movement that's making learning fun again. Visit www.myedtech.life/myedtech10 and use code myedtech10 for 10% off any license purchase, whether it's individual, school, or district. Click the link in the show description and let's make education exciting together with Goose Chase.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I love that. And so I do want to unpack a little bit about what you said, which is absolutely wonderful. And right now, thanks to you and sharing this with me, I'm definitely going to be sharing this with our art teachers as well, because I know that at the beginning of the year, usually, like you said, there's always a beginning of the year PD, and
Yeah.
they really sometimes don't get their own PD because there isn't anything that is specific for them. And like you're right, sometimes they sit in those meetings where, this doesn't have to do anything with art, or sometimes they bunch them up with CTE and maybe there's a little crossover, but it's more in that graphic design, but the art
Right.
teachers really needed,
Special.
just
Mm,
yeah, something
be special. We
specific.
know that.
Yeah, and so it was great. I was able to go and share some things with them, but I did have like music and art teachers and everything, so it was mixed in. And because that's the way they group them. But what I love is that now I can take this and they can learn a little bit about obviously what is there that's free, but at the
Mhm.
end, maybe some of that curriculum that I absolutely love, that offering of the flex curriculum,
Mhm.
where you just have a resource there should you need it, or the resource that you can use to sprinkle onto what you're already doing
Yeah.
great, make it your own, and then come up with something completely new with it. So
Yeah.
that would be something that would be amazing to kind of change things up from year to year. So this is wonderful information that I'm getting here that I'm really excited to share. And
100%.
yeah, so the next thing that I do want to ask, obviously, because it is a hot topic and you did bring it up, and I kind of wanted to go to into a segue into that, what you did mention and doing a presentation on art and AI. So as somebody that's passionate about art like you are, and there are so many other teachers that are out there, what was your first reaction when you first started seeing some of these generative AI platforms? Just all of a sudden, like I put in a prompt and here is my still in oil. What were your initial thoughts when you first saw that?
My initial thoughts were probably not the thoughts of the majority.
Yeah.
Because the majority was like, is to be scared of something new. It's gonna steal our artist work and it's gonna do and those are not unrealistic fear. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're still good, but I think to go all one way or all the other way, it's always just this weird, like, alarmist thing. I am kind of like a sit back and observe, but I am always kind of fascinated and excited about what could be. So, I mean, when I first saw what could happen, like, I know you and I, we do a lot of Adobe stuff. So to see Firefly, you know, produce image from text, it was a little bit like, "Whoa, this is amazing." And that's how most tech tools kinda sucked me in. I do a lot of work with video and video stuff because I saw what it could do with green screen, and my brain went, "I wanna run away from an explosion like an action hero." Like, that was what I'm like, so I think one of the first things I did with AI was, like, a portrait I'd taken of myself, and I had this, like, alien crawling in the background behind me, which was actually kind of horrifying the way that it came out, but I was like, the ability to make that, like, impossible possible and that magicness is really kind of the heart of, like, creativity and art, and it was just, like, another tool, like handing me a paintbrush or a camera or, a stylus or even just a set of colored pencils, like, what you can do with it is what's really important, but it's not that I don't get the other side of it either, and I understand the, like, sourcing, and, like, feeding the AI from other people's work and the ethical, like, issues that creates. I get that 100%, but I think there has to be a way in between. Like, every tool, we're gonna find people that abuse it and use it the wrong way, and we're gonna find so nothing is it I don't know, nothing is all bad or all good, and there's a lot of, like, nuance in all the arguments, so I'm excited about what it can do, but I am cautious and not completely unaware of where it could go wrong. Does that
Yeah, no, that
okay,
completely
it's an answer without an answer. I get you.
no, no, and it's actually and that's valid. It is a valid answer because me, I'm very much like you, where I'm kind of like
Yeah.
in the middle. I really try and be in the middle, and like you said, there I do see some of the possibilities and some of the good, and then also, of course, whenever you have those bad characters, and then of course you hear the other side too as well.
Mm,
When I was having a conversation with an art teacher at the beginning of the year, and I shared with them what was available through Firefly and even Adobe Express, they were
mhm.
like, "Great, like this is wrong. This is gonna, and that was that. And I guess it just came from that initial fear. But then
Yeah,
I kind of just said, well, let's hold up a bit. And I said, look, for myself, that maybe I'm not a very artistic person in the sense of, being able to take a brush to a canvas or lines, and I have really bad spatial reasoning. But I said, let's think about it this way. Like, what if you had a student like me in your class that I just needed to
yeah,
get my idea on that canvas, but maybe I can't draw it. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to, but what if I'm able to explain it in wording and see a representation of it? And now I'm like, yes, that is it. That is exactly what I was thinking in my mind to do and
yeah,
create. And now I can use that as a reference as I learn how to put it down on a canvas. So it's kinda like, I don't know, I don't wanna say, is it like reverse engineering or something? Just kinda like seeing that finished product, but then still
yeah,
finishing it off on canvas, and it's that
yeah,
ideation process.
yeah,
Once I said that, they're like, "Okay, like, well, but, oh," and then they just kinda stayed quiet and they're like, "Okay," like, I can see it kinda makes sense in that aspect. So it's just like you said, it's just kinda that mindset and that
yeah,
initial fear of like, "Oh, great, like, now these kids are just gonna turn in, just, this digital copy and that's it?" But
yeah.
there is some thought that goes along with it too as well, and work that goes behind it too also. So, yeah, like, that's the way that I feel about it in that sense as far as that when I had the conversation with the art teacher as well.
Yeah, and I love my art teachers, don't get me wrong, but there is always a faction of art teachers that are very anti-tech of any kind that, like, art yeah, I don't know if they think they're being, like, an art purist or a back to the basics, and like, "We don't do screens in my classroom, and we only use the actual tool we use analog tools," it's like, "Okay, just because we used to do graphic design with, like, India ink pens and protractors and things, we don't do that." I mean, I did because 'cause I'm old, so when I was in college, we learned that, but then we did transfer to, digital, we might have learned photography in a dark room, which I also did, but then now there's digital photography, like, the tools advance and things grow, and it doesn't mean there isn't purpose or use in, like, those foundational tools or knowing where it comes from, but it doesn't mean that you just, like, reject those other things altogether. And I think when I taught in a middle school, I was in this really unique, like, because you're kind of in all the worlds and like developmentally, like think about your brain. If you can remember yourself in middle school, I I was an art kid and I could draw, but so many times there were pictures in my head that didn't look like the thing I wanted it to look like on paper. So to be able to kind of envision that and then use it as a guide to create my art, even for somebody like me who like was artistic, and I use that in quotes because everyone is artistic. We just haven't found our maybe you haven't found your medium, you know? There are people that are great with clay, um, not me. I enjoy using clay, but I don't feel like I'm all that good at it. And other people that are great at computer animation versus drawing or painting, or I'm a fiber artist, or there's so many things that you can use as your medium. I mean, and if you really want to stretch the boundaries of art, some people are great at storytelling, and some people are great at you know uh, baking fancy cakes. Like it's all art when you think about it. But the other so that's kind of the whole, like, art teachers that hate tech. They need to kinda, like, open the brains a little bit. I love you guys. No hate to any of my art friends, but come on. Let me in a little bit. Let me show you some cool stuff. Now the other part of that is there are a lot of things that we currently do in art class or traditional art class assignments that AI can actually enhance or make better. So, for example, I'm gonna say, I don't know if you're familiar with grid drawing, but we teach kids how to draw, and one of the main thing a lot of times you this is why art teachers collect old magazines and newspapers. They find a picture, or nowadays, a lot of times they find one, they print it off the internet, and you draw a grid on top of it, like a 1 inch by 1 inch grid. And then you get a big sheet of paper and you do a 2 inch by 2 inch or a 3 inch by 3 inch. And you're literally just showing students how to take a picture, take those little pieces and break them down and transfer. It's just your observational drawing is what you're doing. Well, what if instead of finding someone else's photograph from off the internet or a picture out of a magazine or an advertisement, you used AI to generate your source image and then did a grid drawing of your source image? Do you know? Then you've just become the artist at both levels. You're learning that skill of observational drawing, but you also kind of like created that original image that you're gridding and blowing up too. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you've given it that extra step, or even something is I'm gonna call it dumb, but I don't mean like it's dumb or I don't know. It's simple. That's what I'm like a simple thing would be use AI to have your kids generate their own drawing or coloring sheets instead of using like adult coloring pages of like mandalas or things that you want to do for
Mm.
like your SEL, have them generate their own. Like coloring is not it doesn't have I'm stumbling over my words because I'm trying to say like coloring isn't a depth of knowledge, like, art activity, but it's not that it doesn't have value because it absolutely still does, so it's this I'm like yeah, I'm tripping over my words here. But what if you had kids design their own coloring pages, so there is, like, the thinking skill behind it and the whole, like, "I'm just practicing my coloring, and it's a cool, relaxing thing I love to do." Like, there are just simple ways that you can incorporate this in that it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to have a computer lab to do all of these super fancy works with your kids.
Yeah. And one of the things too that I know I've seen Claudio share many times is being able to, like you said, prompt an image, but then also use a specific reference point. Like, it's like, hey, let me put an image of myself in there and then see what kind of interpretation comes up with. Like you said, something that could be very unique, or maybe like there's an image of an actual character that you're studying, coloring pages. And now you're maybe even as a class right now, when you said that, I was like, whoa, that would be kind of neat activity where the students are actually, they read a novel and you're learning about themes, you're learning about the protagonist and antagonist, and now you're creating these, images that might represent that in what you're learning and getting that feel for it. I'm like, hey, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff there that,
Because head movies, right? When you read a book, you get pictures in your head movies. Yes? Like,
yes,
you can now make your head movies real through AI. The other thing I was thinking about when you were talking about being able to describe what's in your head and have a picture of it because you feel like you're not good at drawing, what you're also doing is strengthening your like language skills too. Because if you don't describe it well enough, it's not going to give you the picture and you're going to see it and you're going to be like, oh, I forgot to tell it that the dog is brown. So you go back in and you rework your prompt and you send it again. And then you say, oh, cool, but it's nighttime. It was daytime in my head movie. So you go back and so you learn to use more descriptive writing and being more detailed and specific rather than just saying, I like this because it's nice or I like this because it's good. So, talking and writing about art is another thing that you do in art class in addition to making art. And this is a way that you can kind of strengthen that. And then, like, boom, cross curricular, you're learning, better writing and speaking skills and descriptive, use of language and vocabulary. It's like, oh,
Definitely. Yes. Fireworks going off.
yeah.
Hey, so talking about this too as well now, I'm kind of curious now as far as like I know you and I are having a really great conversation here, especially about this specific topic, but I want to know more about the chats that you hold. You said like, you meet, you have the
Mhm,
group maybe once a week, excuse me, you said once a month, and that you guys, get in there, you chat, you create art. Tell me a
mhm,
little bit more about that and what goes along in those conversations. And also maybe tell me about, I guess, the makeup of the group. I know it's very heavily art driven, but do you
mhm.
get a lot of teachers from maybe that come in from around the world? Is it mainly US? Just I'm just curious about that.
These are all, like, great questions, and yes, all of these things, I was surprised by how many international teachers have actually come in. So, first of all, the community is public and it's free. So, I will get you the address so we can put that in here so that teachers can come in and join. When you go to join the community, we have screener questions that just say, "Hey, are you a current or former or aspiring art teacher or wanna work in arts ed in some type of way?" Because we don't wanna exclude, like, you're a museum educator, cool, come and join us. You're a retired teacher, come and join us. You're a 3rd grade teacher who is thinking maybe you wanna teach art one day, come on in. We take all. We take, wow, what's that? Undergrad, couldn't come up with the word. Undergrad students come in all the time, aspiring, like, student teachers come in. So, we take everyone. If you like art, you wanna teach art, come in and join us. So, we have a question about that. We have a question that just says, "Hey, you're not gonna come in and just spam us with your teachers pay teachers, so we don't like that. It's not about that." And then the third thing is tell us a little bit more why you're excited to come and join us. And that's just so I know that they're human and not spam bots because I've had to be careful about spam bots and crypto bros. It's become like a whole thing. So I gotta yeah. So it's my job to screen those. But once you get in, cool, you're in. And we it looks like I'll show it to you. It looks kinda like a Facebook group, or we're kinda like a subreddit. Yeah, you come in, this is our teachers lounge space, so it's really just a feed. Let's see if I can find oh, I'm right here. So it's a feed that you go through. There's, like the featured content is all stuff that I set, so we have regular weekly like, I do a weekly wrap up on Fridays, which actually is it in this? It's not in this article. There's an AI robot that just sold art at auction for like $1.5 million. So I'll have to find that article. But see, teachers post things. We ask questions. Here it is. Artwork made by humanoid robot. It's AI Da, and it's supposed to be like Ada Lovelace, like inspired, the name of the robot. Sells for 1 million at Sotheby's. So there you go. I know, it's kind of insane. So you could see our conversation is we're like, "Who gets the money? So many thoughts here, but isn't art weird?" And they're like, "Art and money are the weirdest." So it's like these are the kinds of conversations we just have. We have daily questions. So here we have like a daily poll. And last week we had struggle bus week. So every day was a different thing that you struggle with. So this was assessment. We had one on teaching Gen Alpha. What's your biggest struggle that you have? So we have things like that on there. But then we have spaces specifically for different grade levels. So we have an elementary teacher space that you can come in and join. We have a middle school teacher space and a high school teacher space. And we have only been public for about 2 months right now. So we are still in the baby stages of the community and we have big plans for how to grow. So, for example, since we've launched, we opened up the art gallery. And the art gallery is a place just for teachers to share their own personal artwork because art teachers are also artists. So they come in and share things, even just like, "Hey, I crocheted this thing for my classroom." Um, and it's fun. It's a place where we can all share. Now, there is also the side benefit of the community is that we can talk about offerings exclusive to the art of education. So when you go to what's new at AOEU, we talk about we'll link out to like articles and things that are available. So for example, let's see, this is the latest one here. Um, the topic was bookmaking. So we linked to a couple of things about doing bookmaking with your kids, free articles that we have. And then just more fresh finds from AOU. So things that we've posted recently, podcasts, little reels and shorts we've had. This is a tour of an art room and the art teachers' homes. There's like a whole series we have of like art teachers sharing up their homes and things. Um, so there's just a lot of stuff in here. And then we do have plans for a whole space in conjunction with our conference that's coming up in January. So that's a little preview there. Nobody, this is my tester member account. So hey friends, if you're watching, preview of what's to come. So
Love it. This is great, Jen. Like,
yeah,
that's amazing. And like you said, it's just it seems like a great community. And I love more than anything, it's just that you're connecting your professional learning network or personal learning network or
mhm,
your personal learning family. That's the way I call it, the PLF. But you're going in there, like-minded individuals. And what I love is just the activity that's there. And you said it's, fairly fresh, fairly new. People are joining in and
yeah,
sharing. So I know that we will definitely link that up in the episode notes so everybody can go ahead and make their way over there and learn more about the Art of Education University and, of course, the page and connecting and all of that, because I think that is definitely something that is very, very important. And I also love the space that they have to create, like, share your own
mhm,
art
yeah,
and just, this is wonderful, get some feedback, get encouragement and all of those things because like you said, it's like, art being an art teacher can be very lonely many times. And it's like you just want to share with
yeah.
somebody and find a group of people that are there to inspire you or feel inspired by what you're doing. And I think you're doing a fabulous job, Jen. Thank you so much. I really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and as the leader and as kind of like I feel like the mom of this group,
Oh,
I'm very much like, we need to support each other, and I make sure that when somebody posts that I'm clicking, like, the like button or the heart button or I never want anyone to post and, like, not have a response because then I don't want people to be, like, turned off being in here. So I
yeah.
wanna make sure, like, everyone gets an answer to their questions and everyone so sometimes, like, I'll see one question, I'm like, "Oh, we talked about it over here," and I'll, like, send them back over to here, and I like doing all those connections, and, "Oh, I didn't get to tell you about our monthly meetings." So we
Yeah.
do we do art club once a month so not only do we have this space, but it's also where we schedule, like, our events. So we have a monthly art club meeting, and it's tied in with whatever our theme of the month at the Art of Education is. So last well, not last month, November was service learning and giving back, and we talked about how you could do, like, service learning in your classes, and October was sci-fi and AI, and actually we brought in Claudio from Adobe, and he talked about the AI tools in Adobe Express. But in the months coming, we have plans to bring in, like, someone from Canva and someone from WeVideo, and we have like, I wanna take all that stuff that I had from when I taught ed tech,
Yes.
I know, and I wanna bring those people in, like, "Come on, meet my art teacher friends now," because I because sometimes they're forgotten about, and
Yes.
or they're just sometimes I think as a teacher, they you shun the technology for so long that you feel like, "Oh, I can't possibly start now," or it's too far beyond me. I'll never get, I don't know the TikToks and the things and So my tech coaching comes in handy because I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You got this. It's not as scary as you think. Come and ask me. I will not make fun of you. I will, not treat you like the tech guys do sometimes. I will bring you in and I'll show you no question too stupid. I don't know. I'm full of stupid questions, so I'm not gonna ridicule other.
But I love that. That is so wonderful and so valuable, like, to have somebody, like I said, yeah, you can just go to and you say, "Hey, I'm curious about this," or ask a question and have somebody to help there. But I love also what you're doing in the sense that because of the experience that you've had
Mhm.
in the K-12 space, but being able to see the potential of those tools in this higher ed space and even like
Yeah.
professional development. And even though, of course, many of those art teachers are in the K-12 space, but like you
Yeah,
said,
most of them. Mhm.
oftentimes they're left out and there isn't anything out there for them that is available. So now they can definitely reach out to you, Jen. So before we start wrapping up and everything, let
Mhm.
us know, how can people get to the website? I know we're gonna link it in here, but share
Yeah.
with us the website and then also how they can go ahead and connect with you as well and connect with the community.
Yeah. So our main if you're interested in joining the community, you will go to community.theartofeducation.edu. So pretty straightforward, but I'll write it down. We'll get it to you and everything there. Um, and when you go to that site, because you're not already if you're already a member, it just lets you in. But if you're not already a member, it will send you through the account creation, would give you those screener questions. They come to me. I'm the person that reads them. So I click on it and I look and I hit accept or decline. And it's honestly, if you don't answer the questions, I'll decline you. But if you just tell me like, yes, I'm an art teacher. Yes, cool. I heard about it on the podcast. I want to come in. Yeah, you're in then. Like I'm not about excluding people. Seriously, I'm about welcoming and bringing in. So that's that's really all there is. I mean, the art of ed is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. We're on Instagram, the Art of Ed YouTube channel. Our podcast is called Art Ed Radio. It's been around for a very long time. What am I forgetting about? Podcast, YouTube, Instagram. I think we have a TikTok. I don't know. I don't know about these TikToks. But our conference is kind of our next big thing that's coming up that we advertise a lot too, but you'll find all about that. I mean, there's our main website too. theartofeducation.edu is our whole website, and you'll get linked out to all the things there. So, yeah. I mean, as far as me personally, I'm not a lot of places anymore. Like I deleted the Twitters. Couldn't do it. It was hard because I'd been there over 10 years and I had a lot of friends, a lot of connections I'd made. But ultimately, for my mental health, it needed to be done. And it's been fantastic. Like, I have a Facebook, but I don't use it. So my friends all know, like, Jen, I posted this on Facebook, but I know you don't check, so you didn't see it. So they have to tell me direct. Like, you don't have to tell me anything. Just understand if you put it there, I'm probably not going to see it. Like, that's just as long as you got it and we're in agreement, we're good. Um, I am on Instagram still. So if people really want to find me, it's the Mrs. Leban, like TheMrsLeban. It looks like Leban or Laban, but it's Leban. That's pretty much the only place to find me now, other than the community. If you come into the community, I will talk to you. I will annoy you.
Well, that's wonderful, Jen. I mean, like, I love the fact that you shared that. And again, if you're listening to this episode, just put there, like, on those questions that get asked, you just say, "Hey, I heard it on episode 301." Jen will know that you're not a bot, and
Mhm.
you'll get let in and everything. All right, guys.
Yep,
But Jen, it's been wonderful catching up with you. I can't believe, honestly, it doesn't feel like it's been 4 years.
it doesn't.
Honestly, it really doesn't. I can't believe it was episode 19, and we were talking about Google Innovator because during that time, I was going through my Google Innovator
Oh
journey also as
man.
well, and you were illustrating books too as well, and I
Mhm.
was just like, "Wow, like, feels like we're so young back then, and now we've matured and
Or maybe
we're adulting now."
our
I
hair our
love
hair's
it.
a little grayer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm with you, my friend. All right, Jen. But before we wrap up, I always end the show with the final three questions. And I know back then, I don't think I was doing those three questions. So I think this is your first time answering the three questions. And I know I put them on the calendar invite. So
I'm ready.
hopefully, all right. So you're ready to go. So here we go.
Yep.
Question number one. In the current state of education, Jen, what would you say is your current edu kryptonite?
Okay, and I read that like kryptonite is in like the thing that destroys you that you absolutely
Yes.
hate.
Hmm.
Canned curriculum. I brought it up. You should know from just hearing me there. Yeah. Scripted canned curriculum. I won't name any specifics, but one of the reasons I left the classroom was a push to get me to teach this canned curriculum. And I was like, nah, mm-mm, I'll leave before I do that.
There we go. All right. Good answer. Canned curriculum. All right.
Yeah.
Question number two. If you can trade places for one day with somebody, who would it be and why?
Okay, this was a hard question, and I had to think about it for a long time. And now this is going to be a wild answer you're not going to expect. Okay, so I would like to be 1990s Cindy Crawford at the height of her supermodel phase, just so I could play dress up for a day. Like,
Oh, there
how
you
how
go.
great would that be? Like, supermodel you just put on anything, and I would just hang out in, like, a closet all day and try on different outfits.
I love it. That's very unique, Jen. That is an awesome answer. All right. And my last question to you, my friend, is if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
again, this was kind of a difficult question because I'm like, yeah, you can put a billboard with anything, but it's not going to change anything, you know? I don't know, like just because you put something on a billboard. So I decided that I would donate the space or the time on the billboard to a local business that I love. So I'm gonna shout out the burger place by my house. They're called Burger Antics in Brookfield, and they are amazing. So I would give my my billboard to Burger Antics to advertise their burgers because I feel like we're supporting small business, local businesses, and their food is delicious, and that it might get more customers in.
There you go. Great answer. Hey, that is very unique. I love it. It really, honestly, with that answer, Jen, it really goes to show, and it really shows not only myself, but everybody that's listening. And I know you've mentioned it even, during the chat that you're like kind of like this mom figure within the community and bringing people in, but just your heart that you have and really helping people. And I think that's something that's very special. And I just thank you so much for sharing your heart with
Aw,
us because I know that that definitely did come out throughout our conversation and your willingness to help, your willingness to just, help many art teachers getting out of their comfort zone and not feeling siloed and not feeling alone. And that really is big. So I thank you for what you're doing. And I'm sure that the art community is definitely very appreciative. And I'm excited to really put this episode out there now. So hopefully continue to draw some more people into that community, getting to know you a little bit more. And of course, just, having a creative space where everybody can join and, just share and have a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Jen, for your amazing work. Thank you again for being a guest. And for all our audience members, thank you as always for all of your support. We really appreciate all the likes, the shares, the follows. If you haven't followed us on all the socials, follow us on all the socials at My EdTech Life. And don't forget, jump over to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. That way, the YouTube algorithms share all this wonderful stuff with your friends also as well. And head over to our website at www.myedtech.life, where you can check out this amazing episode and the other 300 wonderful episodes. And please make sure you check out episode 19 as well, when
19
you can see a young Jen and
fresh
young
tea.
Fonz having some conversations there around tech and Google Innovator and all that good stuff. So please make sure you check out that episode. But as always, my friends, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. We do what we do for you to bring you some amazing conversations and amazing guests like we did today. And my friends, until next time, don't forget, stay techie.